Yes! He's here! Oh, God, he's here! Thank you, President Donald Trump. You're looking quite beautiful today, sir. God bless the USA. You look so goddamn good, sir. Please fuck my wife. Do you think he wears a corset? No, he just lost it, baby. He lost weight, baby. It's because he's been so sad. My president's been so fucking sad this whole time. He's been so goddamn sad about the libtards coming after him. He lost the weight. He's sad about America. He's sad about the inflation. So he's lost the goddamn weight, brother.
Please rise and place your hand over your heart for the #1 song on iTunes, Amazon, and the Billboard charts. Justice for All, featuring President Donald J. Trump.
Wait, what? Rise and put your hands in your heart? Like it's the motherfucking anthem. What? I thought they were gonna say the #1 song, like the national anthem. Yo! They're dropping an anthem too. They just did that. Bro, they really did that. They said national anthem so good. How about why no national anthem too?
To the flag of the United States of America.
Oh my God, that's so sick. This is the January 6th prison choir. I love this. Oh, this is so good. Oh, it's so fucking good. Oh my God, I'm so glad I hadn't heard this one before.
And to the republic for which it stands,
take off your hat. Fuck no, brother. Notice how they're not taking their hats off
one
either.
nation, under God.
Dude, this is so sick. This is so sick. I got chills, brother.
Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
By the way, only 56,000 live concurrent viewers. That motherfucker fell off a little bit. That was fire.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much, everybody.
The dick riding is
That
crazy,
song
always.
tells you a lot because it's #1 in every single category. #2 was Taylor Swift. #3 was Miley Cyrus. So we have our moment, and that tells you that our people love those people. They love those people, and it's an honor to be here. I say hello, Texas, a big hello to Texas. We had tremendous victories in Texas. And it's great to be back in this beautiful and incredible state with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. And from deep in my heart, thank you for your prayers, and thank you for your love, and thank you for that incredible, overwhelming support that we've had. Mr. Lieutenant Governor, thank you very much. Been my friend for a long time, Dan. Thank you. Before we begin, I also want to express our sadness and send our prayers to everyone in Mississippi and Alabama who's been touched by the devastating tornadoes today. A lot of people were killed. We love you all for 7 years. You know that we've all been fighting together.
I get you play this for laughs, but this is just disturbing how a fascist cult, even this is, with this much support. Yeah, well, you can't do anything. We live in America. Might as well have fun.
Trying to destroy America, and they've been trying to destroy it. They're not going to do it, but they do get closer and closer.
Also, this is kind of small, but it could be because it's in Waco, or it could be because most people, all the Patriots are watching here from home. And at the top of the hour, those Patriots will unfortunately be served a 3-minute ad break. Now, of course, if they no longer want to see those ads, all they need to do is subscribe, which they can do for $5 or free with the Twitch Prime, or by getting gifted a sub if they're lucky. Right. Rise up, Patriots. Waco is huge. Crowd size is just small. No, Waco is pretty far from everything else. Like, I mean, it is surprising that there's... It's all right. Thank you for the 5 get the subs. Hasanabi's nipple. Thank you for the 5 get the subs. I'm saying, like, it's far as fuck from, like, it's far as fuck from population centers in Texas where a lot of people will go.
Big group. But they don't want to tell the truth. That's why most of them are going down the tube.
But so is everything in Texas. Technically, Waco is not that far. It's only like 100 miles.
They don't want to talk about what's happening with the laptop from hell. They don't want to talk about those things.
143,000 people watching on Rumble right now. What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, those are definitely real.
Bleeding America dry.
Thank you, Drew Dog.
Everything they can to crush our spirit and to break our will, but they've failed. They've only made us stronger.
Totally.
And 2024 is the final battle. That's going to be the big one. If you put me back in the White House, their reign will be over, and America will be a free nation once again. Our enemies are desperate to stop us because they know that we are the only ones who can stop them. They know that. You know, there's never been a movement like this in the history of our country, probably in the history of almost every country.
Bloodite Cyborg,
MAGA,
Hasanabi's nipple. Thank you for the 5 get the subs.
First, call whatever you want. But I will tell you, there's never been in history, look at this crowd, as far as the eye can see. We flew over. It was a beautiful sight. As far as the eye can see.
That's not true. That is not a big crowd, I don't think.
And I did tell your great Lieutenant Governor, I said, you know, Dan, let's not do one of those 50-50 areas or an area we're a little behind. Let's go right into the heart of it. Come on, let's go. Let's go where we were close to 100%, right? That's what we did. But as far as the eye can see, the abuses of power that we're currently witnessing at all levels of government will go down as among the most shameful, corrupt, and depraved chapters in all of American history. It's happening.
A lot of people also didn't show up. A lot of people in Texas politics said that they had other prior obligations, so they didn't show up to the event, which, you know, calls into question how much the Republican Party, like infrastructure people, actually care about Donald Trump. Charles Gusa, thank you for the 10 gift the subs. Rusty Bikes, thank you for the 5 gift the subs.
This was where it seems to have begun from the standpoint of us watching it in semi-modern day history. You go back to communist China or look at a third world banana republic. That's what we've become. Between our borders, our elections, and the weaponization of law enforcement, banana republic, that's what we have become. Let there be no doubt the injustices being done, not only to me, but to dozens across our country will not stand, and we're not going to stand for it. When this election is over, I will be the President of the United States. You will be vindicated and proud, and the thugs and criminals who are corrupting our justice system will be defeated, discredited, and totally disgraced. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. From the beginning, it's been one witch hunt and phony investigation after another. And you know, because of it, our country never talks about greatness anymore. You look at what China does. They go all over the world. They spend money, they take over governments, they do a lot of things. And we're always looking. We got crazy people like Shifty Schiff, and Hillary, and all of these people. These people,
he's right, I hate him
talk
too.
about greatness for our
Hillary?
country. All they want to do is invest.
Bro, Hillary Clinton's making like Hulu documentaries. Why are you even... People still get motivated by Hillary Clinton, which is crazy to me. Crowd photo, view of Trump rally crowd in Waco, Texas. All right, that's kind of big. It's not that big, but it's actually bigger than I thought it would be. Anyway, throw Hillary in jail or shut the fuck up, Trump.
Something that we haven't seen in Washington in 25 years. So I want to just thank those two and many people that are working with them. In my case, every piece of my personal life, financial life, business life, and public life has been turned upside down and dissected like no one in the history of our country, Marjorie, I think we can say, right? I don't think we can find anybody. They even got the Supreme Court of the United States to give them my tax returns, something that was never supposed to happen. Legal scholars say that's a shocker. And everything they wanted about me, they got every single thing they wanted about me. The Supreme Court said, oh, give it to the prosecutors, that's okay. He only appointed 3 of them. Not a lot of, we don't want loyalty, we want what's right. But sort of strange, isn't it? Give them everything they want. They actually came down with one ruling that, no, you can't do that to presidents, but to Trump you can. To Trump you can. And we've been a special administration, and we have special people. There's nobody like the people we have. They're the smartest. They're the best. These are the most. Look at all the money they're sitting over here. They're all over because, and you know what? They've made that money the old-fashioned way. You're right. Front Row Joe. The Front Row Joes, will never forget them. And my friends from North Carolina, who are unbelievable, beautiful, incredible women. Incredible people. They travel all over. What is this, like number 93, I think, right? Number 93. Oh, they go, no, actually more. But we appreciate it. 101, Front Row Joe, 101, all the Joes. But the Supreme Court is afraid, just like Republicans are afraid, to do something about what has happened. And they have to fight. The Supreme Court didn't have the courage to right the wrong of the 2020 election. They knew what was going on. Tax returns were always considered sacred. Lawyers, in their own way, if you can believe this, were considered sacred. Today, lawyers go before grand juries all over this place, if they happen to be lawyers representing Republicans, and they treat lawyers like they're criminals. It used to be if you had a lawyer, the lawyer was somebody that was very much considered from the standpoint of what we're talking about above reproach. Now they get thrown in with everybody else, and it's a very unusual situation that's taking place. And again, legal scholars can't believe what they're witnessing. And yet, after going over 11 million pages of documents, I built a great company.
11 million!
They've got nothing. They've got nothing. Think of it. 11 million pages. And my tax returns on top of it, and they're a big return. It probably makes me the most innocent man in the history of our country. Friends of mine say that.
What about your enemies, dude?
A very successful friend of mine said, you know what? President, on page 3, they got me. Got 11 million pages we gave over to various groups, including Congress. The new weapon being used by out-of-control, unhinged Democrats to cheat on election is criminally investigating a candidate, bad publicity and all.
He literally said, I have friends that are bigger criminals than me. Like, as though that's supposed to absolve him.
Could you explain this to me? Explain that to me, Dan.
Which is awesome.
Mr. Congressman, you got to explain it to me because nobody else has ever heard of it. But you know what? It gets so much publicity that the case actually gets adjudicated in the press. And people see it's bullshit, and they go and they say, it's unfair. But it takes place by the Department of Injustice and their local henchmen at the AG and DA's offices throughout the country. They use the local offices, like in New York City, like in Atlanta, like in Chicago and Los Angeles. They make lives miserable, destroy their families and friends, even though they know these people are innocent. In many cases, they're patriots. They're not guilty of anything, and yet they have to go through hell. And if you're running for office, even Dan, but I don't think they'd ever go after him. But we have some great congressmen that probably they wouldn't go after because they're too clean. They're the cleanest people I've ever met. They come from Texas. They have to be clean.
Dude, he's hitting new lines. He's hitting new lines.
But let's say they're not that well known. They're doing a good job, and an investigation has started into one of these many great people. They're going to lose their race. They're going to lose their race. And they do it all the time. They're using investigations now instead of, because it's harder for them to stuff the ballot boxes, of which they stuff plenty. You know, Marjorie is here, Truth to Vote. And they found at least 5 million instances on tape, and the courts didn't want to even look at it. The district attorney of New York, under the auspices and direction of the Department of...
Bro, he's still talking about how he actually didn't lose and they cheated him. He needs to get new shit. This is weak shit, dog. You just sound like a fucking loser over and over again. You're going to depress voter turnout because they're going to be like, what's the point of voting?
Horseface, I never liked.
Oh!
It's just not. That's terrible. That wouldn't be the one. There is no one. We have a great first lady.
Horseface. Bro, look at how happy he is with Stormy Daniels, though. Look at this. Look at this. Look at how happy
really
he was.
Do love. And she's done an incredible job. Not an era, not anything. They have nothing. And yet it went on and on and on and continues to. He stacked his office with D.C. operatives. A man named Matthew Colangelo, one of the top people in the Department of Justice, was moved into the Manhattan DA's office to make sure that Trump got taken care of. They couldn't get it done in Washington, so they said, let's use local offices. So they have Colangelo, the top, just about the top, one of the top people under the Attorney General Garland, and they sent him into New York to be in the Manhattan office. Can you imagine that? In order to prosecute and do everything he could to get rid of Trump, because, you know, our poll numbers are through the roof. I guess you've seen that. They don't like it. They don't like it. We won in 2016. We won by much more in 2020, but it was rigged. You know, in 2020, I got the most votes of any sitting president in history. We won the most counties in the United States in the history of our country, many, many, many times more than Biden won, and yet they said we lost. So what we have—
Yeah, it's so fucked up that, like, you know, we won so many of the gerrymandered districts. Meanwhile, the people voted, you know. It's literally just saying land. We won the land, and yet the people somehow overcame that. Such is the nature of democracy, but...
You know that. We had a certain state, everybody was so proud. Republicans liked to vote on Tuesday. They went in and the machines, a lot of the machines were broken. So they had to stand on line for 10 hours and more. And actually, many of them never got to vote. That's what they do. They always seem to find an answer. It's what they're good at. They're good at stealing, lying. They're good at...
It'd be so sick if, because Governor Greg Abbott is not there, he's actually going to extradite Trump to New York in front of this entire...
You know,
in front of this crowd. It'd be so sick.
Want voter ID, but not
I'm manifesting it.
One reason you don't want voter ID, because you want to cheat on elections. And the Republicans cannot take it any longer. They have to get tougher, but they cannot take it. These Washington Republicans like Mitch McConnell, who's the absolute worst. They've got to get tougher. They got to get like Marjorie Taylor Greene. You happen to be here. Would you like to run for the Senate? And I will fight like hell for you, I tell you. Where's Matt Gaetz? I heard his speech. Oh, Matt, look at Matt. Boy, he laid it out there, didn't he? I said, I was watching. I said, maybe he's got a little too far. And then I realized, no, he hasn't. That's really.
Bro, his allies are Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene, which is weird because Marjorie Taylor Greene, like, literally was telling people not to protest and shit.
Well, they weaponized.
And Matt Gaetz is fucking Matt Gaetz.
They made up phony charges, and he went through 2 years of hell, and he turned out to be a brave guy. It is a good test. You have to say that, Matt. It's a hell of a test. We learn about people. It's almost like going to school, taking a test. He got an A+ on that test. I mean it, Matt. They took the word of a proven liar, a convicted felon, and a disbarred lawyer, all the same person, believe it or not. You wouldn't think that could go to one person. It would be 3, 4, 5. Over some of the most respected and prestigious people in the country and in New York City, some of the most respected lawyers testifying against. They looked at all of these.
Stop trying to bait me for the bingo.
They went back to old cases.
Stop trying to bait me for the bingo card.
Rejected by many prosecutors, highly respected prosecutors, Democrat prosecutors all, before including, and I will tell you, the existing prosecutor who said, this case doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. All of a sudden, pressure got put on him by Washington, D.C. And the case that didn't make sense, he said, let's go get Trump. They even had numerous prosecutors who resigned because I was being treated unfairly. That made me feel so good when I heard that. Think of it. People actually in a Democrat area, Democrat office, they resigned. Did you know that? They resigned. A lot of them resigned the office because they said, you can't treat a man like this. He didn't do anything wrong.
Everyone
but the two
said
lead
that.
prosecutors, absolute human scum, one a Hillary Clinton lawyer from a Hillary Clinton law firm. Do you believe that? How about a guy who represents Hillary Clinton? He's in a law firm that represents Democrat. It's headed up by Chuck Schumer's brother, this law firm, Robert Schumer. Think of this. Now, think of this. And he calls up the prosecutor. Think of this. He calls up the district attorney of Manhattan. He said, I'd like to come and work for free. I'm going to leave. I represent Hillary Clinton. We represent the DNC, the Democrat Party. I don't even know if you know this. And he said, I want to work for free. He's a bad guy, known as a bad guy. I want to work for free to get Trump. And they bring him into the office. He becomes the head prosecutor. Then you had another one similar. And then he goes out and he quits because the head of the office, who I respected, but then he went bad because he succumbed to pressure. But the head of the office said, no, we can't get him on anything. He didn't do anything wrong. Changed his mind a little bit on a couple of little things, but that's okay. But he was under a great deal of pressure. Now I understand that he's made up his mind and he agrees with his original feeling that we did nothing wrong. But how about this? A guy leaves private practice representing Hillary Clinton, goes for no salary, no anything. He goes into the district attorney's office to prosecute Donald Trump. He doesn't get what he wants, so he leaves the office in a huff, and he writes a book. And the book is published during the case ongoing. And I will say this, he has been absolutely killed by the media, even the fake news media back there, a lot of them I see. And they say that in itself is enough reason that should have stopped a long time ago. So he goes in and he writes a book, and he makes money off a book, telling you what went on with the grand jury. What do you think of that, Mr. Lieutenant Governor? You think that's fair?
Fucked up, dude.
Sounds like a fair system. It's a rigged system. Like we had a rigged election, we have a rigged system.
Rigged, I tell you.
And you almost have to say, what does our country come to? Review after review, even by the biggest, greatest legal scholars, some of whom don't like Trump. Like Alan Dershowitz said, I don't want to vote for Trump. I never voted for Trump. I don't believe him. Actually, I think he does, but he does that to give himself a little credibility with his friends, the Democrats. I think he votes for me. Bro, why are you right?
Alan Dershowitz, you know, the #1 pedophile defender. Okay, remember that. That's who he's referencing here. The guy who worked with Jeffrey Epstein and personal best friend to Jeffrey Epstein.
Greg Jarrett, who's a great scholar.
The Dersh!
Great guy. he came out with reports that were so damning, it was so horrible to actually read it. But this is really prosecutorial misconduct. That's what it's called. The innocence of people makes no difference whatsoever to these radical left maniacs. It is worse, actually, in my opinion. Hard to believe anything could be worse than this, but I think it's worse than ballot stuffing or media manipulation by the FBI working together with Twitter, Facebook, and the rest. Remember when that came out 4 weeks ago, that the FBI was working to make sure that nothing bad is said about Biden, but as much bad as possible is said about Trump. And you know, that had more of an impact even than Truth to Vote with the ballot stuffing, where they caught ballots being stuffed on tape, all live
It's true.
on tape.
I'm a patriot.
So we have to stop them from cheating in elections, because if we don't win this next election, 2024, I truly believe our country is doomed. I think it's doomed.
You couldn't pay me enough
Prosecutorial misconduct is their new tool,
money to attend one of these.
and they are
You're
willing
wrong.
to use it at levels never seen before.
I would go to these
in our
rallies for
country.
free.
We've had it, but we've never had it like this. We must stop them, and we must not allow them to go through another election where they have yet another tool in their toolkit. Remember everything I've endured, all of the hits, all of the attacks, all of the assaults and pain.
He's losing the crowd.
My loved ones. My loved ones have suffered far more than I have.
Did you guys get bingo? Was that a bingo one?
With me, it's almost become like I go through Russia, 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 phony deal. Impeachment hoax number 1, phony deal. Impeachment hoax number 2, phony deal. The Mueller witch hunt, phony deal. By the way, its determination after 2.5 years, no collusion. There was no collusion with Russia. I could have told them that very easily. But they knew that because they had the laptop. And the laptop, the collusion, was with Biden and Hillary Clinton, who worked with them on the dossier.
This is an interesting take.
Paid for by Russia. But they don't.
This is an interesting take. I haven't watched a Trump rally in events sometime, but here's the difference between 2015 and now. In 2015, Trump talked about people's problems. The rally is all of his problems. He's wrong. Well, he's not fully wrong. There is some elements to it that's right, and there's some elements to it that's wrong. As the number one leading authority, number one Trump stan, I will tell you this much. So he's half wrong because Donald Trump has always talked about his own personal issues. Okay? He's wrong on that. However, he's also kind of right because what Donald Trump used to do is take his own personal animosity towards the liberal elites for never accepting him, never loving him, and turn it into the people's issue. He would say, they hate me because I love you. They hate me because I defend you. And the reality is, he doesn't do that anymore as much. He just basically is just like, they did this to me, they did that to me. They hate me, they hate me, they hate me, they hate me. It's me, 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 me. And he's not doing a good enough job of like telling people that it's because they hate white Americans. That's it. So I think he's taking for granted how much people love him and perhaps even has like a false sense. Wait. I just realized something insane.
What? The farmers love Trump. They keep saying, oh, I think DeSantis can do okay with farmers. I don't think so. Based on polls, he's not doing okay with anything. Well, it's never good to try and destroy Social Security. It's never good to raise the minimum age to a very high level, which was not good, and to go against Medicare and try and obliterate it. These are a few of the good facts. It's also not good when you look statistically at how he did on COVID. Not well at all. He's in a very bad position. Or you look at how he does on crime. Not good. Not good. We have great Republican governors, actually, who did really much better, who shut down their states for a very short time or in some cases, didn't shut them down at all. I look at South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee. I mean, we had some states that did a phenomenal job with no shutdowns. You know, I gave them the right not to shut down. Not everybody, you didn't have to shut down. But in the case of Florida, they unfortunately did shut it down. They shut down the beaches. They shut down everything. So now that people are finding out about what happened, they're saying, man, he's dropping like a rock. And I wonder why. But, you know, you never like it when somebody comes, you see, I'm a loyalist. They say, sir, don't talk about that, sir. Because people don't want to hear that, but I do. Because
I just realized that the Mario red carpet / premiere or screening or whatever is actually not today. It's on April 1st.
But they've been very loyal. But I'm a loyalist. And when a man comes to me, tears in his eyes, he's at almost nothing in the polls. And he's fighting somebody that's at 42, and he's got almost $30 million in the bank. He's at almost nothing. He's got no cash. And I say, I can't give you an endorsement. There's no way you can win. You're dead. But he fought a little bit, like 150. He was certainly no Jim Jordan, that I can tell you. He fought a little bit, just a little bit, on impeachment hoax number 1, impeachment hoax number 2, meaning on television, because I didn't know him very well. But I saw him, so he came and he really wanted. I said, you can't win, can you? How do you can win? Sir, if you endorse me, I'll win. Please. Please, sir, endorse me. And I said, all right, let's give it a shot, because honestly, the Secretary of Agriculture, Adam Putnam, good man, but I never met him. I didn't know him. So I don't feel guilty about it. You know, if you don't know somebody. I wish I knew him, actually. You want to know the truth, I wouldn't have done this. So what happened is, I said, let's give it a shot, Ron. And I endorsed him, and he became like a rocket ship. Within one day, the race was over. He got the nomination. Then he had to run against a man that was the hottest in all of politics. He was the hottest person. Remember, it was him and Stacey Abrams, the two hottest people in the Democrat Party. So we laugh at him now, but at the time, he was one of the hottest people in politics, Matt, right? He comes from a state that Matt's very familiar with. Now, he turned out to be a crackhead. But I did rallies for Ron that were massive rallies, and they were very successful. So we got him the nomination. We then got him the election. He said, I don't think I can make it, because the other guy was really popular, believe it or not. He was going to be the next president of the United States. But that didn't work out too well. They caught him in a crack den. Of course, anything goes in politics today. He can maybe he's going to make a comeback. Who knows? But think how bad Florida would be. Remember one thing. Florida has been tremendously successful for many years, long before this guy became governor. Florida was tremendously successful under Rick Scott. He was, look, whether you like him or not, Charlie Crist, it was very successful. He was a Republican at the time. But Florida's been successful for decades. In fact, probably as or more successful than it is now. But when a man, you know, you get him elected, and there's no quid pro quo. Get rid of that word. Remember those words? Quid pro quo, with the perfect call I made with the Ukrainian president. But when you're getting a guy, so he gets the nomination because of you, he wins the election because of you, 2 years later, the fake news is up there saying, will you run against the president? Will you run? And he says, I have no comment. I say, that's not supposed to happen. I have no comment. No. So I'm not a big fan, but I love, that's right, he's a disciple of Paul Ryan. He is actually a disciple. That's why he wanted to cut Social Security and Medicare. But I think we're doing really well. I mean, we're up at levels. I don't know if they have them on the screen, but they might put them up on the screen. The polls, the last 4 or 5, actually the last month. Yeah. And put the other ones up, because you'll see some numbers that are incredible. You'll see some numbers that are, we just had one today, 69 for Trump, and I think 18 or 19 for
Murat said nice from the other room.
Yeah, we were at 69 and one today. But If I never fought the Marxists and the lobbyists and the rhinos and the open border zealots, if I never fixed our military and I rebuilt our entire military, we defeated ISIS. We took out al-Baghdadi. We took out Soleimani. We fixed our military and gave you the largest tax cut in the history of our country. We gave you the largest regulation cuts in the history of our country. That's why our businesses were doing so well. Not now, unfortunately. And none of this persecution would have ever happened. In other words, if I didn't do all that, I was leading this life. I didn't know what subpoena meant. Now I'm one of the kings. I know. I can look at the color. I can tell you where that one came from. Oh, that's a nice. Now, if I didn't do all that stuff, or if I was doing badly in the polls, instead of the numbers we were at 69 and 59 to a very small number, it would, they wouldn't be going after me. When they go after me, they're going after you. I left behind a magnificent life, and I stepped up to fight for America because no one else would do it or would do it properly. Matt said it.
USA.
Thank you. You know, they have the best seat in the House. A lot of people don't know.
They're looking at my
A lot of
sweet
people have been
butt.
hired from sitting back.
I got a big one, folks, and they get to see it.
And they can't see what I'm doing. They can only see me from the back. I try and turn around. But they can see what powerful shoulders I have.
This is good, Trump.
But those cameras are on there for 2 hours. And every once in a while, a face will be so crazy, so good, so wild, that lots of good things happen for that person. So congratulations.
He's saying he's going to give him clout.
They may have a better seat, but I'd rather have your seat. Our front row Joe's over here. Since that moment, all of the hatred, rage, and contempt the radical left has for you and your values and this nation has been very much directed on me. And again, they want you. They're not getting you. They're not even getting close. It's been a stream of lies and abuse that few people could ever imagine. Few people can imagine. I had a man come up to me, a very famous man. Almost everybody probably would have heard of him, a businessman. I saw him about 2 weeks ago. He said to me, could I ask you, I'd never even liked him very much, to be honest, but he did say it. He said, could I speak to you for a second? Yeah. Mr. President, I'd like to ask you one question.
Elon
How do you
Musk.
take it? I said, take what? How do you take the abuse? How do you wake up in the morning and put on your clothing? How do you put on a shirt? Every single day if that ever happened to me, I think I wouldn't know what to do. I say, well, then don't go into politics. But don't go into politics where you're going to make America great again, because you have a lot of people that don't want to see our country be great. It's hard to believe. But he did ask me that question. I have that question. That's one of the most often asked questions that I get, Wesley. How do you do it? How do you do it? How do you get up in the morning? And I don't like it because it's such a negative thought. I'll start thinking about it. I don't want to think about it, because if I think about it too much, I'll probably start agreeing with him. But I'm never going to do that. But I've borne all of this willingly.
Wesley Snipes?
And I watched other people run for office. I mean, Mike Bloomberg spent $2.5 billion. He never got past the first question, right? So, but I do it again because I love you and I love our country. Thank you.
Wesley Snipes is a famous businessman in the sense that he too avoided paying his taxes. You know what I mean? So in that sense, he's very similar to like every other businessman. He just got caught.
So they're not coming after me, they're coming after you, and I'm just standing in their way, and I'm going to be standing in their way for a long time, and eventually I won't have to standing in their way because
Wesley Snipes
in
and
2024
Ludwig
we're going to have
Ahgren.
the greatest victory of them all. We'll have the greatest victory of them all. You know, by having this delay of 4 years, it was devastating for the psyche of our country. It was devastating for our country, devastating for many people. When you look at millions and millions and millions of people pouring into our country, devastating. But, you know, the one thing, it's bigger. If we do it in 24, it's much bigger than had we done it in 20, because we have learned how this other side and how these policies don't work. When you look at what happened with Afghanistan, I was taking them out. Everybody was coming out of Afghanistan. I was the one that got it down to 2,500 people. We were keeping Bagram, however, not because of Afghanistan. We were keeping Bagram because of China. 1 hour away from where they make their nuclear plants, Bagram Air Base is the biggest in the world. And you know who's occupying it right now?
The Taliban!
China!
Oh.
China.
Oh.
And they
Boo.
left in the dark of night, and they did leave the dogs behind. A lot of dog lovers. We all love dogs, but they did. A lot of people said, did they leave the dogs behind, those great German shepherds? Like Conan. Remember Conan? He went after al-Baghdadi. That was not a good
Is he
day for
saying that the
al-Baghdadi.
Chinese are like eating the dogs or something?
Joe
Is that what he's
Biden,
trying to
American
say?
Patriots are
That's so weird. Why did he bring up the dogs?
what's
like,
happening in Washington. And I will tell you, Marjorie Taylor Greene is the expert. She's been to that prison many times. She is there is nobody that has described what's happening in that prison.
Chill, I'm
It's
not
a
there.
hellhole. And these are soldiers and policemen and firemen and medics and doctors in a couple of cases. These are people that shouldn't have been there. And when you look at the
saying
Tucker
we left the dogs
Carlson
behind, it has
tapes
nothing to do with
from
China. I don't know.
2 weeks ago, and you see
Maybe.
so many things that turned out to be false. Very important what Tucker's done, what Sean has done, what Laura did. Laura did a piece last night that was incredible. And Jesse, there's a group of people that have been absolutely fantastic. Greg Kelly has been great. Rob over there has been great. Newsmax just got its 15 million people back, which is great. Which is great. Newsmax, they tried to destroy Newsmax. What they've done to OAN is horrible, horrible. But they tried to destroy Newsmax, and through a lot of different things, they got it back. DirecTV, they didn't like it. And they had very high ratings, and they took it off. That's something pretty unusual. But while leftist thugs are allowed to roam the streets,
What?
killing, looting, burning,
What?
raping, and pillaging, patriotic parents, Christians, conservatives,
Oh, shit.
pro-life,
Oh, Jesus Christ.
hounded by the FBI and the DOJ like terrorists. They're being treated so badly. They're allowed to spy on my campaign and nothing happens. They're allowed to write up fake dossiers, send it around to everybody, and it turned out to be a total hoax. There was nothing true in it. It was done by the Democrats and crooked Hillary Clinton. But they persecuted us, and yet Joe Biden is a stone-cold criminal caught dead to rights, and nothing happens to him. Forget the family. Nothing happens to him. Yesterday, the press reported that millions and millions of dollars came into his family's bank accounts from China.
Boo.
Can you imagine if that were me? How would I do if that were? If China paid millions and millions, and you know, they had to describe the work. For Jim Comer, they wanted to describe the work. And it didn't look too good because they had no idea why they got the money. They had no idea. Millions and millions of dollars coming in from China. The mainstream media didn't even pick up a tiny piece of that story. Can you believe it? You look at the mainstream media, they don't talk about it. They're right there. In fact, it was a very big... They don't talk about it.
Boo.
Amazing. You know, it's amazing
I hate the mainstream
because
media too. You're right.
when I started, they had a very, very high popularity and approval rating. And now they're lower than Congress. Lower than, I'm very proud of that. I've exposed, but they were never like this. Now they're deranged. And not all of them. I'd say 10% of them are okay, right? But the 10% have a very hard time. They have a very hard time. And nobody can understand why a media would be against things where we want good education for our children, where we want real, strong military, where we want low taxes and low regulations and good schools and good all. It's just a crazy thing that they fight against. And for some reason, the radical left, I don't even think they know what they're doing. I think they have so much hatred for our side. They don't want to listen to the issues. They don't want to listen to the policy. But it's a very strange thing. You know, we had more requests today, over 500 requests for media. And I said, that's nice, but probably by this point, about 90% of them, I think those red lights have gone off about 30 minutes ago. I watch it. You know, CNN, which has the lowest ratings in their history because they're fake news. Anybody that has to hire Don Lemon has to be fake news. Don Lemon. You ever watch a thing? He fails in prime time, so they move him to the morning at a ridiculous salary, right? They probably paid him more. Why do they do that? Why don't they just hire somebody new? He can only do better. They should hire Matt Gaetz. Would you like to get out? The weaponization of our justice system is not, as some have called it, a political spectacle. This is the central issue of our time. I think it's one of the biggest issues. And by the way,
wake up!
Nobody
America
called out China like Donald Trump. Nobody called out Russia like Donald Trump. And they want to know. Remember when they said, oh, he's soft on Russia? Putin said to me, if you're soft, I'd hate like hell to see you when you're tough. I called off. Remember, I ended Nord Stream 2. Nobody in this audience, nobody in Washington ever heard of Nord Stream 2. That's the pipeline. I ended the pipeline. I gave them hundreds and hundreds of javelins, whereas Obama gave them pillows. Maybe they got them from Mike Lindell. Did they buy it from you? Mike, I hope they didn't. You'll be under investigation.
Wait, he gave Russia
tomorrow.
javelins? What? Or is he trying to say
No, they gave him pillows and sheets.
Ukraine
I gave
javelins.
them javelins. And then they said, and you saw what those javelins did to their tanks. That wasn't pretty. But that was me that gave it to him. And then they say Trump.
Also, he said he ended Nord Stream 2, but Joe Biden blew it up, so.
I ended Nord Stream 2. The pipeline was done. And one of the first things
He's not wrong, by the way. That is true. He actually halted the.
That is the biggest development they've ever done. That was economic development. That was massive money. This was a
That's
pipeline
not false.
going to Germany and all of Europe, spread all over Europe. I ended it.
And for those of you saying he didn't give Ukraine javelins, of course he did. Every fucking president did. It's bipartisan. Yeah. Both of those things that he said about Ukraine are true. Remember, he literally fucking used the ongoing weapon supply into Ukraine as a talking point. Like, he tried to get dirt on Joe Biden and Hunter Biden from Ukraine and held up military aid that was accounted for Ukraine at the time.
Our country, but the destruction of the rule
Cannot
of
take
law
you seriously right now. Why? Are you afraid of seeing a true patriot tell you the actual truth about America and American affairs? I'm sorry. Yeah, it was a perfect phone call. Donald Trump is the greatest president of all time. I don't know why what's the problem? Why can't you take me seriously right now?
Schumer, Biden, Justice Department, because that's poisoning our country. I can do things with China. I made the greatest trade deal in history with China. I don't even talk about it because sometime after that, fairly shortly, what happened with COVID, it was like I didn't want to talk about a trade deal because no trade deal you make is going to ever $50 trillion worldwide. Think of it. Trillion. $50 trillion is the damage done. China doesn't have anywhere near that money. Nobody has anywhere near that money. The damage they did. So I don't talk about it. But I had a great relationship with China. We put massive tariffs. We took hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars out of China. No other president took anything out of China, not 10 cents. But the only way to stop these arsonists, and that's what they are, is arsonists. And I really do believe, and they'll go right and say, oh, Trump likes China more than he likes crazy Nancy Pelosi. But in many ways, these sick people are more of a threat because we can deal with China. I was beating China so badly, nobody's ever seen. We were lapping them. And then COVID came in. We had to go back. We did a great job. And when we unfortunately had to give up what we were doing, very sad, sad day for everybody in this audience and for, frankly, most of the country.
I'm just getting progressively more insane throughout this rally.
Higher than it was just days before COVID was something that nobody ever saw, came into our country. So we really rebuilt it twice. But if you go back to those earlier days, which wasn't that long ago, we had a country the likes of which
I got a hair trigger
ever done before. And China wasn't a threat. China was actually in deep trouble because we had all the power. We had this economic power that was used very judiciously.
Watch out!
We were winning, and we were winning big. The problem isn't China. The problem is stupid people that have to deal with China. That's the problem, and that's what we have. And I watched Joe Biden yesterday in the halls of Parliament, Canadian Parliament, this beautiful Parliament, and there's Trudeau with his beautiful wife, and they're sitting there laughing and laughing. They think it's so great because they pulled the wool over his eyes. The deals they made for that guy, I would never have made those deals. I would never. But I watched Joe Biden say, I'd like to thank China. And he's in Canada. And then he goes, oh, because they start screaming at him. The entire room starts laughing. I'd like to thank China. But he's in Canadian Parliament. He said, I mean Canada. The whole place was laughing. They're laughing at our country. We don't want anyone to laugh. Nobody
They're laughing at our country, folks. Nobody was laughing at our country when I was president. Totally.
The only way
That's like one of the funniest.
Is to rebuke.
One of my favorite Republican tropes is like whenever a libtard is president, everyone laughs at America because the libtards are weak, right? But like literally universally, everyone was laughing at Donald Trump. So like that argument is stupid anyway, but like every single fucking country was laughing at us when he was the president. Like literally.
17 times I never stayed over. And I wasn't aware too much of that particular society. It's a D.C. society. And I had to rely on a lot of people. Some were rhinos, but they gave me advice. And we had unbelievable people. We rebuilt our military. We got the tax cuts. We got so much. We did so much. But we had some I wouldn't have used. I would have liked to have had more powerful, stronger attorney generals. There were some people that I wouldn't have put. But here's the beauty of being there. I was there 4 years. I know the good ones. I know the strong ones. I know the loyal ones. I know the ones that love our country. When you go there and you weren't, number one, a politician, and number two, you were literally never in Washington, you have to a certain extent, rely on other people. And I take advice from, in a couple of cases, Dan. And I got great advice, including your son. That was good advice.
Who?
His son was a great
Crenshaw?
U.S. attorney, one of the best.
No.
But, you know, we get good advice, but you also get some advice.
Who's
right
Dan?
now, I know the good ones, and we know the bad ones, and we know the weak ones, and we know the strong ones. But we know the ones that love our country, because it's all about common sense and love. Never forget the very same people who are always after me are the
Dan
ones
Patrick.
throwing open your borders to millions and millions of illegal aliens. Nobody suffers more than this state. I watched on television the other day people having homes that are just being invaded. And the real number, in my opinion, you know, they like to say 4 million people, 3 million people, maybe every once in a while you hear 4.5. In my opinion, by the end of this year, it'll be 15 million people will have come into this country, not 4 million or 5 million, 15 million, which is bigger than New York State. But they're flooding your towns with deadly drugs, selling your jobs to China, mutilating your children. They're mutilating your children. Who would have thought?
What?
12 years ago, a thing like that to say.
Is he saying that like immigrants are doing trans surgeries or something? What the fuck?
Setting fire to your life savings. releasing violent criminals to prey on innocent people. We have so many people pouring in, and so many of these people are not the people you want coming into our country. Justice will only be done when we have thrown this repulsive political class the hell out of office. We have to get them out. In 2016, I declared, I am your voice. And now I say to you again tonight, I am your warrior. I am your justice. And I took a lot of heat for this one, but I only mean it in the proper way. For those who have been wronged and betrayed, of which there are many people out there that have been wronged and betrayed, I am your retribution. We will take care of it. We will take care of it. You could take the 5 worst presidents in American history and put them all together, and they would not have done the damage that Joe Biden has done to our nation in just 2.5 short years. What they've done to our nation, just think of it, what they've done to our nation. The stakes of this election could not be more clear. Either we surrender to the demonic forces abolishing and demolishing and happily doing so our country, or we defeat them in a landslide on November 5th, 2024. Either the deep state destroys America or we destroy the deep state. That's the way it's got to be. We're at a very pivotal point in our country. Either we descend into a lawless abyss of open borders, rampant killings, super hyperinflation, which is what we have right now and not coming down, and festering corruption, or we evict Joe Biden and the Democrats from the White House and we make America great again. We are thrilled to be joined
Super
by great
duper
friends of
inflation,
mine and
folks.
Texas Patriots who support us, many of whom are here
Omega
tonight. We've gotten so
inflation.
many endorsements, it's incredible, but many of them are here, and I want to start with the head of our campaign, along with your great Attorney General. But he's been a friend of mine for a long time, and he called up
Trump
right
is the
after
best the
election.
U.S.
He
has
said,
right
"We gotta
now, to
do
be
it again,
honest.
sir. We have no
Totally, brother.
choice."
Hell
So I
yeah.
wanna-
Yeah, you're so right, brother. You're so right. What pride, am I right?
Great job, Dan. He's a great man. He loves this state and he loves this country.
There's literally never been a single fucking Republican president that hasn't added to the deficit and contributed to the inflation. It's just like, if you think that that is the real reason, it's got to be bingo bait, right? It's got to be bingo bait. There's no fucking shot. That's a bingo? Fuck you guys, man. This bingo shit is like...
But he gave me a cognitive test. You know, Ronnie Jackson in the White House. You know, they said, this guy is brilliant. He's going to destroy our country. He's taking it over lock. Okay, that
We
was
should be
about
doing
2 weeks.
we should be doing predictions, honestly, about fucking like what Trump will say next
Oh, he's
in the
dumb as
next
a
30
rock,
in the
dumb
next
as a
30
rock.
seconds or
Then
whatever.
they say something else. He's in the middle. They had about 19 different narratives. I said to Ronnie Jackson, is there a test I could take to prove how smart I am?
Never mind. You guys have yelled at the mods
Well,
too
sir,
much
we
every
have
single
the
time that
so-and-so
they've done it,
cognitive
so we're not
test.
doing it.
That's given by Walter Reed. I said, well, is it tough? He said, actually, after the first few questions, it gets pretty tough. The problem is if you do badly, I don't know if we'll be able to shield it because, you know, it's sort of a public place. Other doctors see it. Other doctors are there when the test is given. I said, should I do it or not? And I did it. And you know what? I aced it, got them all right, every single person. Some of them are tough. And you know, it was after that that nobody called me stupid anymore. It was very good. Because I never liked that narrative. I don't like the word stupid, but other people are very stupid. Another guy who's fantastic, Troy Nels. This guy is a warrior. He is a warrior. He's tough as hell. And somebody I wish I had a future like this guy. You heard him speak before. I heard him from that very nice airplane that's behind us. I said, you know, I never knew you were that great a speaker. I've heard the word. Wesley Hunt, he's a great speaker. Thank you. Thank you, Wesley. And by the way, these are all people that have endorsed me, because if they didn't endorse me, I say don't even come. I have a few said, sir, I love you. We're going to
He didn't even ask them to come. He said don't come, which is bullshit, by the way.
endorse me. Thank you, Michael. Where's Michael? He's around here someplace. Pete Sessions, whose wife Karen
Oh, yeah,
is here.
this
Where's
is so
Karen?
funny.
Karen. Great.
Okay, this part is irrelevant. Here, I'll show you guys this quickly. I'm mixed. I will no longer acknowledge the black half of me. We don't invent. We don't create. We don't build. All we do is destroy. We're ungrateful clowns, and the entire world knows it. I'm fucking done, says this lady, Uzuna. And apparently... apparently, she's dating this guy. So... anyway, let's continue.
But he's a very brave man. He went with Steve Scalise and some others in that horror show on the baseball field in Washington, and he's fully recovered. But he was hurt.
I saw the Jonathan Majors. Announcement. We'll get to it later.
A movie, I'd probably pick him as my lead politician. Roger Williams, who's a great guy. Thank you, Roger. You're looking good.
Golga Bolga! Golga Bolga, folks. Don't we love it, folks? 100 gifted subs at the top of the hour, allowing 100 Patriots to no longer see the ads. At the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break, folks. 100 big ones. Now, of course, not everybody gets lucky. You can make your own luck by subscribing for $5 or for free. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. Erratic Saw, thank you for the 5 gifted.
You know, when I was running in 2016, the first time I ever saw this guy had this big cowboy hat on, and I said, man, I wish I could get away with that, but I can't. You know, New York, it wouldn't work as well. At the time, New York. And because of taxes and other things, because they're doing not a good job, we moved to Florida.
Weird Panorama, thank you for the 10 gifted.
It's, you know, really a big difference.
I have seen Trump with a cowboy hat.
But, you know, we have... Sid Miller was on television, and I don't know if you remember this. They were asking him a question on CNN Fake News, and they said,
"Don't we love it, folks?
We understand the president is down in the polls. He's losing to crooked Hillary Clinton." And the first time I ever saw this guy, and he had that beautiful Texas accent, I do love, actually. I'd like to have it. But unlike some of the politicians, I don't do it while I'm with you. You have to take me as you... But Sid said, I don't know what polls you're looking at, but let me give you a little statement. Donald Trump is not losing Texas. He's not down in the polls. He's going to win in a landslide. And that's exactly what happened. And we won it twice in a landslide. We won it twice. And a fantastic person who's got a great future also is Congresswoman Mayra Flores. So thank you very much. Thank you. Great. She ran a great race. But they're for me and I'm for them. And we're also joined by some people from out of state, people that are very quiet. You don't know too much about them. They keep a low profile, like Matt Gaetz. I don't know what he's running for, but I'm with him. I have no idea, because he's a smart cookie. He is a smart, tough guy, and we love him. We love him. Just got married to somebody that's actually far superior to him, right? Do we agree? He has a great wife. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't want to insult you by saying this, Marjorie, but on the plane I said, you know, people don't realize how brilliant she is. She just said, she's a badass. Now, these are two smart, great people. McLennan County GOP Chair Brad.
We love our Zoomers, folks. Brad. Don't we love them?
Great, Brad. Thank you very much.
I'll throw on Subway Surfers for you.
A friend of mine, Andy Beal. Andy Beal, Beal Bank. He is the smartest banker. He makes money if the market goes up, if the market goes down. He goes against it, for it. I've never seen him met. He's a great poker player, too, by the way. But Andy Beal is here someplace in the audience. He's one of the greatest businessmen in our country. He's one of the greatest bankers I've ever seen. So the Beal Bank. Contest winners, Gene and Lonnie Bernth. Where are you? You won the contest. That's good. Congratulations. That's good. A man who, every time I introduce him, because I'm not looking, to get him to sell pillows and things, but, every time I introduce him, he gets the biggest applause. Mike Lindell. See what I mean? He does. Let me tell you, he's a brave guy. The FBI hit him, too, and they took your phones and stuff, right? Which to Mike is like taking his business, he tells me. But they just walked in, they took his phones for no reason. For no reason. He's had nothing to do with anything bad. And a man who's been a fan, and I watched him playing the guitar for a little while on the plane. Ted Nugent. Ted. Thank you, Ted. Great job. That was a great job, Ted. A lot of fans. Together over 4 incredible years, we achieved more than virtually any administration in history. Every promise I made to you as a candidate, I fulfilled as your president. Promises made.
Excuse me, did it first? I mean, I've been doing this. Ostonox did it first. Let's be real.
And I did. Everybody said it would be impossible to end NAFTA.
Ostonox is the one who did it first on my videos.
USMCA, that's Mexico, Canada, and let me just tell you, they want to renegotiate.
But it doesn't even matter.
And I have great respect, by the way, for the head of Canada. He's a great gentleman. He's a great gentleman. And
I memed about it before Ostonox ever made it, saying that I should put some sand kinetics videos on my shit.
They came in. If they come in legally, we like it. But it also, we had drugs that were literally 1/10 of what they are now. The drugs are pouring in. People talk about...
Not that it matters.
The people that are pouring in, but the drugs that are pouring into our country, killing everybody, killing so many people. That's another lie, Dan, because they keep talking about 100,000 people, 75,000 people. I've been hearing that number for 15 years. It's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people, probably 500,000 people, and nobody wants to say it. There's no army that could ever do damage to us like that's doing. I promised to appoint true conservative justices to the United States Supreme Court, and I did. I promised to move the embassy to Jerusalem, and I got it built. Not only did I do that, I got it built for a fraction of the cost and a fraction of the time. It was supposed to cost $2 billion. I got it built for $500,000. Does that sound good? We took an existing building, and I renovated it. And we got it built, and it's actually beautiful. All Jerusalem stone, very expensive stone, but in Jerusalem it didn't cost that much. I promised to rebuild our military, withdraw from the ridiculous Iran nuclear deal. Can you believe
there's a clip of you doing it, but with a different video like 1 or 2 years ago? Find it and send it to me.
When I was president, they didn't attack us at all. They attacked us in 78 different locations.
Oh, that one is good.
I promised to kill the unfair and ridiculous Paris Climate Accord, where the United States was going to pay trillions of dollars, and China, Russia, India weren't paying anything. And I achieved a
Kolga Bolga with another 100 gifted subs.
Soon to be energy dominant.
Don't we love it, folks? He's crazy.
For Texas, we would have had, we have more liquid gold under our feet than any nation in the world. Does anyone know that? Nobody knows that. And I got Anwar approved in Alaska, and one of the first moves the Biden administration did. Ronald Reagan couldn't get it done. Nobody could get it done. Of course, Bush couldn't get it done. I don't know if he tried. But everybody tried to get it done. I got it done. We were all set. We were going to take out more. We could have paid off debt. We would have made a fortune. As big as Saudi Arabia, probably, Anwar. And the first thing they did, first week, is they ended the Anwar deal that I made. And Alaska was getting all set to go to town.
Nuclear!
But I made these promises and more, and I kept every single one of those promises and many, many more than that. Now we're laying out a bold, fast-forward-looking vision for what we will do when we take the oath of office as the 47th President of the United States. As president, I will immediately end the invasion of our southern border and all of those Texas ranchers, all of those great ranchers whose houses are being invaded. They never had anything like this. I saw somebody three days ago said, 2 years ago, the border was totally secure. We had no problem. You wouldn't see anything. And today it's a disaster. People knocking on our door and they want to knock the hell out of us. I built hundreds of miles of wall and completed that task totally as promised. And then I began to add even more wall in areas where it was needed. And I could have done it all in 3 more weeks, but Biden decided not to do
Just
it. And that's
3
when I said,
more
well, he
weeks
doesn't want
is
to do
all
it,
I
but he
needed,
actually wants to have
folks.
open borders. That's when I first saw it, Dan. Under my leadership, we will seal it up and we will expand the wall even further. Walls do work. Remember, I used to say walls and wheels. They can come up with all the computers and everything they want. The 2 things that are going to work for a long time are walls and wheels. Other countries are emptying out their prisons, insane asylums, and mental institutions and sending their most heinous criminals to the United States. And who can blame them, right? Who can blame them? These are very smart people, the presidents and the heads of these countries. Presidents, prime ministers, and dictators. I know them all. But they're very smart, very streetwise, and they're sending their criminals to
Colga Boga with another 100
States.
gifts.
We're
What is
talking about
happening?
Mental institutions.
What
and
the fuck is
prisons,
going
think of
on?
it. And they're all coming in.
Do I have an oiler? What is
recently
this?
Where a doctor in a mental institution in a certain country in South America is saying, my whole life I've been so busy taking care of people, but now I have no people to take care of because they're all being sent into the United States. And I said, how stupid are we? How stupid are we? How stupid are we? We're going to be living with this for so long, but we're going to get as many as we can. We're going to get ICE on the road because ICE and Border Patrol, guys like Tom Homan, who I saw yesterday, he's fantastic. And you have some people at Border Patrol, I'll tell you. He's, you're a leader at Border Patrol. I won't mention his name because I don't think he's supposed to be very political. But you got a great, that's right, you got a great man at Border Patrol. As president, I'll sign a massive increase in Border Patrol and a colossal increase in the number of ICE deportation officers. We're going to clean up our country. We're going to clean it up. These are great American heroes. Nobody knows about it. And, you know, I know some of the people in the first few rows, and they're tough guys, but they're not going to work for ICE. ICE will walk into MS-13. They call it a nest, where guys will kill young girls. They killed 2 young 16-year-old girls with knives. They didn't want to use a gun because it's too fast. They're vicious, vicious people. And they killed them with knives. They carved them up and they died. Both of them, they were going to school. They were walking to school in Long Island and they killed them. And these guys walk into those nests. They walk in and they're swinging and their fists are going and everything. They end up always standing up and carting them away. They take them in a paddy wagon, they call it. They take them away. They get them the hell out of our country. We couldn't get them out under Obama because the other countries wouldn't take them. They said, we're not going to take the people. So they'd clog up the airport. You couldn't land the plane. They'd clog up the roadway so the buses taking really bad people back into Honduras and
What is he
El
saying?
Salvador, Guatemala, other countries. They wouldn't allow us to do it. So I said to them, well, how are we going to get them out? They said, well, sir, we can't get them out. We gave up years ago under the Obama administration.
This is such a lie.
Because they won't take them back. I said, let me ask you a question. How much do we pay them in aid? Sir, we pay them $750 million a year. I say, tell them that as of tonight at 5 o'clock, they're not getting any more aid. Remember I did this, Dan? And the following morning at 8 o'clock, I get 3 calls almost simultaneously, separate but simultaneously.
The crowd knows that?
And
No, they
said
don't. They think
essentially
it's
the
real.
same
Everything
thing.
Trump says
Sir,
is real.
We understand there's some difficulty with getting people back into our nation. We would be honored to take MS-13 with tattoos all over their face. We would be honored. We would be honored to take them back, sir. They are wonderful people. Please send as many as you would like, sir. When are we going to get the money? Are we going to get some money? But we don't use that, we don't talk that way in government because we have stupid people doing things. We will use all necessary state, local, federal, and military resources to carry out the largest domestic deportation operation in American history. And Eisenhower did it, so we don't have to feel so bad. But Eisenhower was very, very strong on that. A lot of people don't know that. I will reinstitute Title 42 to keep sick people out of our country and to bring back
What the fuck?
Remain in Mexico policy. You can't come in, you have to remain in Mexico. You think that was easy for me to get? And the first day they came in, they didn't want to do it.
What's this guy chasing?
And even the judge ruled in our favor. I will ask every state and federal agency to identify every known or suspected gang member in America, and every one of them that is here illegally will be packed up and immediately taken out of our country and delivered to their country of origin. And before I even arrive at the Oval Office, shortly after I win the presidency, I will have the disastrous war between Russia and Ukraine settled. It would never have happened.
Settled.
I used to talk to Putin. I got along well with Putin. I used to talk to Putin about it. It's something he certainly had in his mind, never even talked about it. For 4 years, you didn't even hear about it. As soon as I was out or left, or however you want to describe that catastrophe, they started putting soldiers on the border. But even then, he didn't want to do it. He wanted to get a peace. Now it looks like he'll end up probably getting the whole thing. But I've never seen anything like it, what's happened. And if you saw the other day with President Xi, smart, top of his game. President Putin, smart, very smart people. Standing there talking about the world
This is
order
like,
for the next
you can only
100
get away
years.
with this if you're
That's one of
Trump.
the saddest things you can
Like,
imagine.
if
One of the
Biden said
saddest.
anything like
I'm
this,
proud
they
to
would
be the only
fucking eat his ass
president in decades
alive.
who did not start a new war. Everyone said, oh, he's going to
Can you imagine saying the Chinese president is
He's going
smart?
to start a new war. And it's no coincidence that the deep state is coming after me even harder since I pledged to swiftly end the war in Ukraine. So when I say end it, I'm going to get a settlement very quickly. And I know both people, and you can get it very, very quickly. You can only do it through the presidency, but you control the money coming in, coming out. You can get that. I will have that settlement done within 24 hours.
All of our enemies, they're brilliant,
Standing
folks.
before
Don't
you
we
today,
love them?
I am the only candidate who can make this promise. I will prevent World War III, which we're heading into.
Damn.
We're heading into.
Right, you hear that? He's right. He's the only president who can
We're
prevent
heading
it.
into World War III, and this will be a war like no other.
No other. This
Not
is
only
the
is Biden
the number one
courting
war.
nuclear holocaust, he's blowing up the U.S. economy with the Biden banking crisis, a disaster of historic proportions. There's no reason for that either. There's no reason for inflation. You know who caused inflation? Energy. He
What?
restricted energy. He made it impossible to get. It went through the roof. Sid, it went through the roof. Energy went through the roof, and with it came inflation. As president, I will end the inflation nightmare and rebuild the greatest economy in the history of the world, just like we had it before. And I will reclaim our energy independence and energy dominance as we had just a few short years ago. Proud Texas energy workers will once again be pumping, producing, and refining Texas oil and gas to turn America into the #1 energy superpower on earth. And we had it there. We had it. We were doing more than Saudi Arabia. We were #1. I would have been bigger than both of them combined in a short period of time. And then they did what they've done. I will protect, unlike DeSantis, Social Security and Medicare for our great seniors, defending them from both the radical left and the Paul
DeSantis
Ryan
won't
Republican
protect it.
establishment. I will revoke China's most favored nation status. I will implement
He said,
a 4-year plan
DeSantis.
to phase out all
DeSantis.
Chinese imports of essential goods
Is that
and
a new-
gain total independence
Is that a new meta?
from China, which we don't have right now. And I will hold the Chinese Communist Party accountable for unleashing the China virus upon the world. So many people are dead. I will immediately sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other racial, sexual, or political content on our children. I will fight for parents' rights, including universal school choice and the direct election of school principals by the parents. If any principal is not getting the job done, the parents should be able to vote to fire and select someone else who will get the job done.
No democracy anywhere in America except for when freaks want to. Except for when freaks want to fire principals.
Male and female. Thank you. Right. I will revoke every Biden policy promoting the disfigurement of our youth and ask Congress to send me a bill prohibiting child sexual mutilation in all 50 states. And we will keep men out of women's sports. I will not give 1 penny to any school that is a vaccine mandate or a mask mandate.
What?
Just as we did before.
Who has a mask mandate?
We will protect innocent life and defend free speech.
What school has a mask mandate now?
To put term limits on members of Congress.
Bro, he's definitely just doing a repeat of the old shit.
Heaven and earth to fully secure our elections. Our goal will be
every school has a vaccine mandate that existed long before Trump.
It's very simple.
There was a point in time when Trump himself was on board with that.
Republicans must compete using every lawful means to win. We have to do it. This election is everything. We're not going to have a country left if we don't win this election. This agenda will end America's destruction at the hands of Biden and the radical left Democrats. But it's not enough just to stop the forces tearing down America. It's time to start talking about greatness for our country again. Our objective will be a quantum leap in American standards of living.
That's new.
We will hold a competition
that's a new word,
to build
quantum
new freedom
leap.
cities throughout our country, giving countless Americans a new shot at home ownership and a real shot at the American dream. We will build new monuments to our great American heroes. We won't tear them down. We'll build them up. Clean out homeless camps from our inner cities. Get rid of ugly buildings that are hurting those cities and other places, and return to the magnificent classical style of Western civilization. We will support baby bonuses, so many people like that, for the new baby boom that will be coming. We need babies. All of this is within our reach as long as we have the courage to stick together, stand firm against all attacks, and see this vision through to ultimate victory.
Nice little birth rate decline take there, too. That's a wonderful one. You got to hit that. White birth rates are declining, and we got to do something about it, folks. Don't we have it?
In conclusion, our MAGA movement is the greatest political movement in the history of our country. Together, we are taking on some of the most menacing forces and vicious opponents our people have ever seen, some of them from within. But no matter how hateful and corrupt the communists and criminals we're fighting against may be, you must never forget this nation does not belong to them. This nation belongs to you. To you. Belongs to you.
I mean, ultimately, that is the main point, right? That this is your nation.
This is your home. This is your heritage. And our American liberty is your God-given right. From Waco to El Paso, from Houston to Dallas, and from the Red River to the Rio Grande, the people of Texas live and breathe the fierce spirit of independence. You are great, great people. Great people. Pastor. Thank you, Robert. This is the state where William Travis, James Bowie, and Davy Crockett made their last stand at the Alamo. This is the state where a small band of patriots, the Battle of Gonzales, you know all about the Battle of Gonzales, armed with a single cannon, stared down a foreign enemy and declared, "Come and take it." They said, "Come and take it."
Remember the Alamo.
Texas is the state where generations of farmers and ranchers, sheriffs and lawmen, cowboys, cattle hands, prospectors, and pioneers helped build America into the greatest nation in the history of the world, and we're going to bring it back to that level. It's not there now. We're going to bring it back.
Oh, this is a new thing that he does. He plays like some sad music. He plays some sad music about like the state of the nation.
But now we are a nation in decline.
I love this. I love this part. This is my favorite part.
We are a failing nation. We are a nation that has the highest inflation
He spits.
in 50 years, where banks are collapsing and interest rates are far too high. Likewise, we are a nation where energy costs have reached the highest in our history. We're no longer energy independent or energy dominant as we were just 3 short years ago. We are a nation that is begging Venezuela and many others for oil. Please, please, please help us, Joe Biden says. And yet we have more liquid gold right under our feet than any other country. We are a nation that is consumed by the radical left's Green New Deal. Yet everyone knows that the Green New Deal will lead to our destruction. We are a nation whose leaders are demanding all electric cars, even though they can't go far, cost too much, and whose batteries are produced in China with materials only available in China, when an unlimited amount of gasoline is available inexpensively in the United States of America, but is not available in China. We are a nation that ended oil exploration and production in the United States just as the price of oil reached an all-time high. What other country would do such a thing? We are a nation that surrendered in Afghanistan, leaving behind dead soldiers, American citizens, and $85 billion worth of the finest military equipment anywhere in the world. We are a nation that allowed Russia to devastate a country, Ukraine, killing hundreds of thousands of people, and it will only get worse. It would never have happened with me as your commander-in-chief, and for 4 straight years, it didn't happen. China and Taiwan will be next. We are a nation that has weaponized its law enforcement against the opposing political party like never before. We've got a federal Bureau of Investigation that won't allow bad election-changing facts to be presented to the public, and which offers $1 million to a writer of fiction about Donald Trump to lie and say it was actually fact. Where Hunter Biden,
oh God, he's gonna win, isn't he? I don't think so.
Was Russian disinformation, and the FBI knew it.
Current poll: is this speech making you cry with this music?
To investigate.
Vote in the poll, folks.
Acts of voting irregularities and fraud, and we have a man who is the worst president in the history of our country, who is cognitively impaired,
warning, emotional,
in no condition to lead, and is now casually talking about nuclear war with Russia. He has no idea what he's even talking about. This war would be World War III and far more devastating than any of the previous world wars because of the weaponry that no one even wants to think about or discuss.
The N-word!
We are a nation that no
Nuclear!
longer has a free and fair press. Fake news is all you get, and they are the enemy of the people. We are a nation where free speech is no longer allowed, where crime is rampant and out of control like never before.
He's right.
We are a nation that is allowing Iran to build a massive nuclear weapon would have never happened, and China to use the trillions of dollars it has taken from us to build a military that will rival our own. And just 2 years ago, we had Iran, China, Russia, and North Korea in check. They weren't going to do a thing against us, and everyone knows it. Now Russia and China are united and holding summits to carve up the world. And perhaps most importantly, we are a nation that is no longer respected or listened to on the world stage. We are a nation that in many ways has become a joke. And we are a nation that is hostile to liberty, freedom, and faith. We are a nation whose economy is collapsing. Whose supply
How
chain
long is this
broken,
song?
whose stores are not stocked, whose deliveries are not coming, and whose educational system is ranked at the very bottom of every single list. We are a nation where large packs of sadistic criminals and thieves are allowed to go into stores and openly rob them, beat up and kill their workers and customers, and leave with armloads of goods, but with no retribution, where the authority of our great police has been taken, where their families and pensions have been threatened, and their lives would be destroyed for the mere mention of the words law enforcement. We are a nation where fentanyl and all other forms of illegal drugs are easier to get than formula for our beautiful little babies. A nation where once revered airports are dirty. They're a crowded mess.
It's such a funny and very specific
and then are notified that the plane won't leave, and they have no idea when it will. Where ticket prices have tripled, they don't have the pilots to fly the planes, they don't seek qualified air traffic controllers, and they just don't know what the hell they are doing. We are a nation that has lost its confidence, its willpower, and its strength. We are a nation that has lost its way, but we are not going to allow this horror to continue. 2 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again.
I think the hogs are bored too. Like, look, they're not even fucking responding.
Who built this country?
Like, some of them are shaking their heads.
Patriots like you who are going to save our country.
Wrap it up, Trump. Wrap it up, Donnie.
Together we are going to finish what we started. With you at my side, we will totally obliterate the deep state. We will banish the warmongers from our government. We will drive out the globalists, and we will cast out the communists and Marxists. We will throw off the corrupt political class. We will beat the Democrats. We will rout the fake news media. We will stand up to the rhinos, and we will defeat Joe Biden and every single Democrat. We will liberate America from these villains and tyrants who are looking to destroy our country. No matter what they throw at us, no matter what they do to us, we will not bend, we will not break, we will not yield. We will never give in, we will never give up, we will never ever back down. We will complete the mission. We will cross the finish line. We will demolish tyranny, and we will rescue
Damn, he's
freedom,
cooking right now. The Subway
and
server.
justice. And we will restore the American Republic to all of its greatness and glory, greater than ever before. My fellow citizens, this incredible journey we are on together has only just begun. We are one movement, one people, one family.
One nation
and one
under
nation
God.
under God.
Got him. God, he's the GOAT.
With your help, your prayers, your vote, and your unwavering love for this country, we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Texas.
My GOAT.
Thank
My
you.
GOAT. My GOAT.
God bless you all. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Ba-da-ba-bum, ba-da-bum. Double dick suck? Double dick suck? Is it coming? I love, yep, pointing to people individually. You. Even the ending was like low key, kind of. The ending was like kind of mid. It felt kind of flat. Only 51K watching. Viewership dropped off during the process, which is kind of funny. Field correspondent here, expecting the truck convoy to pass downtown tonight. Gonna be loud as shit. Hell yeah, brother. Can't believe nobody thought about showing 21 Jump Street to all these people. Would have solved so many problems. Yeah, I mean, that was kind of mid. That was kind of not very fun, not very interesting, I will admit. You know, as melodramatic as the ending was, as the chatter said, it was still kind of boring. It felt, it didn't have enough new shit. It did not have enough new shit, which is a big L, in my opinion. A very big L, in my opinion. Okay, dude, look at my YouTube shorts. Look at my YouTube shorts recommended. Full auto machine gun recoil. Wilneff is my Valentine. How dudes be when they get a Glock. Garand thumb was a big deal, guys. Stop dry firing shorts. And the real answer to the trolley problem. My YouTube shorts recommended is insane. Is that your lights or is your hair gel flaking? What do you mean? I don't have hair gel. Glad I found the sand channel tonight. No worries. I got a triple bingo. That's insane. It's unimaginable. Crowd looks sunburned. Rhinos. Hasan puts on a MAGA hat. Crowd chants lock her up. Russia, Russia, Russia. Perfect phone call. Hasan says he's back. Mention Stormy Daniels says horseface. Free. Transphobia. Fake news. Crooked Hillary. Hasan puts the big MAGA hat on. The sanctimonious. Okay, I gave you guys everything, dude.